Okay, welcome back everybody to our shelter in place class in our Google Classroom. And I want to just talk about yesterday's real quickly. We used a warm-up, a question in the warm-up feature, which was an awesome way, just as a little formative check, if you want. We created an assignment and we went through providing feedback and actually grading that assignment. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to explore Google Forms quizzes in Google Classroom. And so I'm going to go ahead to create, and we're going to create a quiz assignment. And this is going to be a math quiz. And you can see that by clicking on that. Okay, so Google's gone ahead and has made a blank quiz for me to use for this. I'm going to go ahead and retitle this. I'm going to call this Math Quiz. And my question here is going to be how many days in a week? And so you can tell Google already is deciding that I want this to be a number question. Now I can make this a multiple choice question if I'd like to. That's not a problem, and I can give some options here. But you know what? I'm actually going to use the short answer question for this. And just like Google was suggesting, I'm going to require response validation, and it's going to have to be a number. Okay, and I'm just going to select is a number. Okay. I'm going to go to the answer key and add a correct answer. The correct answer is going to be 7. And then what I can do is I can add answer feedback. So please try again. Let's say 5 days during the week, 2 weekend days. And so I can provide some feedback. You can also upload or link other resources. So if you wanted to make some help videos for your students, you can absolutely do that. Anyway, so now you'll see that I have those questions added, and there's a correct answer in there. I can set the point value in here if I'd like for 10. And when I come over onto settings, you'll notice that quizzes has already been checked in Google settings. I can turn off allowing students to see the missed questions, correct answers, or point values. I can let them all get it immediately, or you can turn that off so they don't get the responses until a little bit later. The locked mode on Google Forms quizzes requires students to be on district managed Chromebooks. Now that may be the case. I've heard that it works across networks, but I don't anticipate. I anticipate that we'll have a lot of challenges with that. So I would encourage you, maybe you want to play around with that feature, but as of right now, I don't think it's really that useful. So anyway, I would go ahead and save this quiz, and this has already been attached to that classroom. Now I actually have a quiz that I'm going to add instead that's already done. So let me go ahead and link that. Now I can find anything in my Google Drive, and I'll find all my recent work up here. And so here's my copy, and I'm going to go ahead and just add it in. So I've added a quiz that I previously created. And so what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and assign this in just a minute. You can see that it's for our class. Again, I can assign to multiple classes or groups of students. The point value, it'll actually take the point value from the quiz. And so it'll kind of override that, I believe. We'll set the due date. And I'm not going to attach a rubric or the originality report. And I'll go ahead and hit assign. Now, remember, on the student end of this, we have our student in the class. But if I click over to our student, the stream has shown that's updated. So let's show the update to the stream, and we'll see the new assignment, the math quiz right here. So when I click into it, you'll see I have the Google form right now. It just says mark is done. I can turn and work with it if I wanted to. But when I click into the form and I go through and I just answer the form real quickly, Scott P, I'll select my class period, and now, one of the neat features of this is this teacher is actually requiring that students identify and say, I've like acknowledging something, you know, I acknowledge that I've done this. And that's a great way to just give some kind of free points and making sure students commit to saying, yes, I've, you know, spent a little time on my work. Anyway, let me just finish these last couple problems here, and they're all inequalities, but I'm just gonna plug away. Okay, so as a student, I submit, and I have this immediately because we allowed students to view their responses. I can view my score. And here it is. It opens it up, and it says, I got 20 out of 20 on these beginnings. It was only a 30 out of 60. And again, it's because I went here. And with each of these, there's some video help that have been added. So I can see the feedback help on the problems that I missed. I have that same option. So I can go click into the video and have help from my teacher. So when I come back into Classroom after I've done this, you'll see it's been submitted. Now, I don't have a score yet in here, but when I go back over to the teacher view, you'll see it has now one that's been turned in. And I can go ahead and I can view the assignments. Notice there's point values associated, but what's going to happen is if I'm done and ready to import grades, it'll actually import the scores from the Google form. And so again, here's a little warning. Are you sure you want to import grades from math? Importing grades will override current grades in Classroom. Okay, so it's going to change the point value associated with those with the scores in there. But look what happened now is I can see that this student got 30 out of 60 on their quiz. What's great is those will go automatically into the Google Classroom gradebook. Here's the thing though, you probably want to take a look at the actual form responses, and in that case you do need to go into the form itself and back into that edit mode, and you get a lot of really great information through your responses when you do a Google Forms quiz. It'll break it down as a summary, by question, or by individual. So if I wanted to look at the individual score, I can go through and I can see for that specific student. But really, I think what can be helpful for you, is looking at the summary and the questions and see how students did by specific, if there were any specific other questions on there. These are all tools that you have at your disposal. Again, assessments, Google Classroom does a really great job with some of those assessments. I really like the question features and assessment, but if you take a look at our gradebook over the last 3 days, we had our first Google Classroom question that was graded and entered, the social distancing activity, and then the quiz that just got pulled in automatically. So I encourage you to think about it. Let's have a conversation about Google Classroom. Have a great day.